Song service was great, thank you. And for all the instruments, thank you very much. And isn't it good to have guitars? And Jeff up here with them, thank you for doing that. That's good stuff. Today we'll continue on in the series that God enables. Today enables you to persevere. Persevere. We're going to look a little bit at that today. 2 Corinthians, if you'd like to turn there, that's where we'll be. Today, if we were to just kind of take a survey throughout the world, we would hear, I want to follow God, but I want to follow God. Everyone who's in church today, whether here at Latonia or worldwide, they're there for one reason, because they have some interest in learning more about or seeking out or following God. Now, many people still have lots of questions, and there are a lot of uncertainties. I would assume that there are many of you who still have lots of questions. I know I still have lots of questions after all these years. There's questions that one of these days the Lord's going to answer, and I'm excited about getting some answers for them. I'm anxious for that. But there's that interest in seeking God. All people interested in seeking God, they have the one thing in common, and each one of us would have it as well. Are you ready for that? We're going to call it baggage. Baggage. Everyone who seeks God has some baggage. For those who are seeking God, we bring it with us. And then once we get into the church, we create some. It's just what we do. So here we are, right back to, I want to follow God, but that uncertainty of that baggage that we've all got. So it's important to know some things. It's important to know that there are two options for you whenever you start seeking God. There are only two options that you're going to have. Success or failure. Success or failure. That's the only two options. So once you enter into the house of the Lord and you decide, I'm going to seek God, I'm looking for God, one of two things is going to happen. You're either going to really succeed and you're going to find Him and you're going to walk with Him, or you're going to not find Him. Being a Christian means that I'm going to learn to trust God. There are things that I'm still learning to trust God with. I'm going to learn to deal with that baggage that I have. I'm going to learn to appreciate the freedom that I have every time that I set one of those bags down and get rid of it. I'm going to learn that God has just set me free from that. I'm going to learn the importance of remembering what He has done for me. I'm going to learn to appreciate the fruits of the Spirit as I work to develop each one of them in my life. Now, it's important to get this. Neither success nor failure come easy. Neither one of them. Neither success nor failure will come easy. God will enable you to persevere if you really want to. But your success will not come easy. You will have to work at it. You'll have to work at your Christianity daily. Many of us work at it hourly. We have to work at it. And if you fail at it, it's not going to be easy. For every one of you who have taken the name of Christ and you want to walk with Him, failure is tough. Because you think that baggage beats you up. Whenever you walk with the Lord and then you decide not to walk with Him, that's really going to beat you up. Because you know the truth. And you know what it takes. So how do we persevere? Persevere is a word that we seldom use today. To persist, to strive in spite of discouragement. So we don't often use this word of perseverance, to persevere. So how are we going to do that? Let's look at some of the enemies of perseverance to begin with. We've got to remember that Satan does not want you to succeed. He doesn't want you to set that baggage down. For all of us who have baggage, you know, we got some baggage that we carry like this because we're protecting it. This is my baggage. I created it. It's mine. And we're holding it close. We got other baggage that we can kind of set down as we go. But we all have that one or two or three that we just hang on to. Now, Satan doesn't want you to set that down. Let me just be clear about that. He doesn't want you to set that down. He'll use anything and everything to make you fail. And if he's got that baggage, he'll do that. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 3 and 4. We're going to go there if you would. And even if our gospel is veiled, it is veiled to those who are perishing. The God of this age has blinded the minds of unbelievers so that they cannot see the light of the gospel of the glory of Christ, who is the image of God. Wow, let's look at what he's just said. Blindness. Satan wants to blind you today. He wants it where you can't see the light of the glory of God. Now, each of us, we've heard about the glory of God, and we know how great it is. I want you to think how magnificent it is when we're having one of those moments, whenever all of a sudden the revelation of God is right there before us, and we're really feeling good about it. Someone has just told us something about God. It's one of those moments when something has been revealed to us, and we're thinking, wow, that's good stuff. That is really good stuff. I love being in Bible study when all of a sudden it's, wow, that's good stuff. I like hearing it. Oh, it renews me. It builds me up. It encourages me. All of you like that as well. Whenever someone encourages you with the gospel and starts telling you about the things that God has done and the things that God is doing, and we get all good about it. Satan wants to blind you to that. He doesn't want you to enjoy that moment. He wants to take that away from you, that you will be blinded. The God of this age wants to blind you to the very light of the gospel that's going to light up your life. Like a big lighthouse that just continues to work. He wants to blind you to that. He wants you to not hear the good news. He doesn't want you to know the good news. He wants you to think that it's for everybody else and not for you. Let's go on to 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 8 and 9. Let's look at them. We are hard pressed on every side, but not crushed. Perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not abandoned. Struck down, but not destroyed. 8 and 9. Satan will do all he can to blind you. Let's go to the part where the apostle says we're hard pressed on every side. Every one of you folks, every one of you who are seeking and wanting to walk with God, every one of you are hard pressed at some point or another, maybe because of the baggage that we have, or maybe it's because of a friend or a loved one who is, and we're hard pressed on every side. It's trying to crush us. The world is trying to crush us, trying to destroy us so that we're not going to walk with Him. So we're hard pressed from every direction, so that He can crush us and just crush the light and the life of Christ right out of us. So we're hard pressed, he said, on every side, perplexed, but not despair, not destroyed, not in despair, perplexed. Now, whenever you're perplexed, do you ever find one of those moments where, that's perplexing? Anyone else ever have them where you'll look at something and say, I don't get that. That's a little tough. Have you heard anything with the gospel that you think, well, that's a little tough. I'm not for sure about that. Kind of perplexing. Do you ever think that maybe Satan, the old devil himself, is distorting one of the truths that you need to hear? One of those truths that you are needing so desperately. Remember that baggage we talked about? Maybe it's the truth that is going to help you set that down. And the old devil's been working on you, and all of a sudden you're pretty perplexed thinking, is that really what that means? No, that can't be what that means. Now the devil's got your old head working. He's trying to totally perplex you. I like using that word. He wants to totally perplex you. Or we can put it in my terms, he's trying to confuse you. All right? He's trying to confuse you. Do you ever find that once in a while, as God's Word is being revealed to you, you look at it and say, surely that's not what that means? Is forgiveness for everything? Surely that's not what that means. I got this baggage I'm hanging on to. But He's going to help me persevere. Persevere. Persecuted, but not abandoned. Do you ever feel persecuted by those that are around you? Do you ever have that work experience where someone says, and you're a Christian? Persecuted. You'll find that you are being persecuted more and more. We've mentioned it several weeks. We see it more and more in our world all the time. The persecution that is coming towards Christians. Christians. It's a frightening thing. Used to, now I'm not as old as Jerry, but I can remember, used to, persecution to me, a Bible college graduate, having gone to Bible college, it seemed like all of my life, for something, persecution was limited to places overseas. I would expect persecution in the communist countries, or Russia, or China, or Africa. Can anyone remember before the last 10 years of thinking about Christian persecution here in America? I can't. I'll just be quite honest, I can't. Now I know that there were things that they disagreed with us on, but I didn't feel persecuted about it. But today we have a lot of Christian persecution right here in our own country. At least on different levels, maybe different levels than what we see overseas, but we have some of that. Persecuted. And then whenever I am persecuted, and whenever I have one of those moments where someone will say, and you're here because of the church or whatever it might be, and I have one of those moments, I'm not abandoned. I know that He's with me. I know that I'm not doing this alone. I know that whenever I'm standing there firm and solid. I was in the hospital Friday to see Rose. They'd called. I'd been doing a funeral Friday morning. They called and said she'd been taken in an emergency. Rose Harden Smothers. So I went to the hospital to see her. I was so blessed. As I was leaving the hospital, one of the nurses said, I see you're out doing some minister work today, out being a pastor. I said, yeah, I've been a minister for a long time. She said, yeah, I live in Latonia, and I've known you for a long time. I thought, oh boy, I'm really in trouble. She proceeded to call me by name and then thank me for the ministry that we have here. Isn't that powerful? And here I was kind of thinking, oh no, what have I done? I'm quite capable of those moments. Most of you don't know that. Yeah, right. I'm quite capable of those moments. And I'm thinking, oh no, did I spin my tires? Careful, Chief. Did I spin my tires? Mr. Wills and I, we took it driving the Mustang, and he didn't think it went fast enough. So did I spin my tires? I'm thinking, oh, what did she see? And then she thanked me for the ministry that we had. Man, that's good stuff, folks. Persecuted, but not abandoned. Struck down, but not destroyed. Between my own baggage and what Satan is trying to do, those outside forces, sometimes it's hard to persevere. And sometimes it's hard for you to keep on keeping on, folks. And as your minister, I know that. I know that each one of you have those days when it's easy to want God, but it's difficult to find Him. I know that you have those days when it's easy to say, I really am trying to follow God, but this person's driving me nuts. We all have them. We know it's going to happen. He is going to help us persevere. It's hard to believe that He really wants me, but He does. I'm blemished. I'm damaged. I'm a failure at so much of what I've done in life. But He does want me. And He gives me help to persevere. And He does that for all of you. Each one of you could make the same statement that I just did. I'm damaged. I've failed. But my God wants me. And He's going to help me make it. If I want to make it. Now, let's go to that word. If I want to make it. See, sometimes we don't. We only want to say we do. So what does He have to do to help me persevere? 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 1. Therefore, since through God's mercy we have this ministry, we do not lose heart. God's mercy. Jesus would say in Matthew chapter 9, verse 13, if you want to read that, but go and learn what this means. I desire mercy, not sacrifice. For I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners. So what does God mean when he says, I desire mercy? I desire mercy, not sacrifice. Mercy is that undeserved love that Jesus has for us. That undeserved love. I don't deserve it, but he has it for me. And because of that undeserved love, he will help me persevere. He'll help me see it to the end. I would like to think that every one of you today have that one objective in mind, is that I want to see this through. I want to be able to come to the day that whenever I am no more, that I will be with him. I want to be able to see it through to the end. And for some, it won't be easy. There will be those who suffer. That's what he was telling us. There will be those who are persecuted. There will be those who never set their baggage down and understand the freedom of God. But when they get to the end, he's going to say, you should have set it down because you're forgiven. Because I'd forgiven you a long time ago when you asked. There's going to be so many of us that when we get there, we're going to think, wow! What was I waiting on? Because that's called mercy. He loves us that much, that he desires to show us mercy, not the sacrifices that we continually do. He desires to show us the mercy as his unmerited love that he has for us. Let's go to verse 6. He gives us the light of knowledge in verse 6. It says this, for God who said, let light shine out of darkness, made his light shine in our hearts to give us the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Christ. The light of knowledge. He's allowed that light to shine within you through Jesus if you'll let him. What's the greatest revelation today that you should know about God? If I was to give you a quiz, this is the answer I'd want you to give me. Because each one of you are looking to walk closer with him. Each one of you want to be able to see it through to the end. Each one of you are here because you want to know God. And if that light is shining in my heart, what do I want from him? What's the two most important things that I want from God today? I want to know that he loves me. He showed me through Jesus. I need to be loved. I want to know that he loves me to that point. I want to know that he loves me so much that he puts his arms about me and holds me tight. I want to know that his love isn't just for this moment, that it's forever. I want to know that his love, whenever I come down the aisle, it's that Jesus that is leading me down the aisle. I want to know that love. I want to know it's real. And the second thing I want to know, and maybe is the most important, is I want to know that I'm forgiven. I want to know that I'm forgiven. So when his light is shining in my heart, those are the two most important things to me. Oh, there's other things that are important. It's important to know about communion, and it's important to know the words, and it's important to read the scriptures. But the two most important things that I have found for me, you may have different ones, but the two most important is that I really am forgiven. I can't go before God unforgiven. I've told you for several weeks, don't even start your prayer life without going and saying, forgive me, Father, for I'm a sinner and I need to come into your throne room and I need to talk to you and I need to tell you what's going on. I have to cleanse myself to get there. And I got to know that he puts his arms around me and loves me and never lets me go. I've got to know those things. So what's the greatest revelation of that light that is shining in my heart that gives me that knowledge of God? Is his love and his forgiveness. Let's go to verses 13 and 14. It is written, I believe, therefore I have spoken. With the same spirit of faith, we also believe and therefore speak, because we know that the one who raised the Lord Jesus from the dead will also raise us with Jesus and present us with you in his presence. All this is for your benefit, so that the grace that is reaching more and more people may cause thanksgiving to overflow to the glory of God. That it may cause thanksgiving to overflow to to the glory of God. So what do I want? Faith, belief, confidence. If I want to persevere, if I want to see this to the end, these are three areas that I have to work on every day. Do you work on your faith every day? Think about Jerry's meditation. Do you work on your faith every day? Think about what Charlie said about communion. Do you come around the table knowing that, were you there? That was the song, Charlie, you were going to mention. Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Were you there? I need to come with that faith of what God is doing in my life. I've got to be able to watch my faith grow. We talked about that last week. I've got to truly believe that He is. I can't just think that He is. I've got to believe that He is. And I got to have that confidence that whenever I speak to Him, great things happen. All three of these help us grow in perseverance, in seeing it through. Following God, folks, is not easy, but it's possible. And its rewards are what we call blessings. Blessings that I can identify with, knowing that I'm facing troubles and problems and temptations and discouragement, that I realize that I'm not all alone, that my perseverance will not be easy, but as I face each one of these, and as I become victorious day after day after day, it's because He was by my side. Perseverance isn't something I can do alone. It's something that He has to do with me. Well, let's go to the last part of 2 Corinthians. Don't lose heart. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 16 and the rest of the chapter, it says, "Therefore, we do not lose heart, though outwardly we are wasting away, yet inwardly we are being renewed day by day. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen. For what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal." We don't lose heart, though we are wasting away, though I'm changing every day. My body changes every day. Sometimes it's a little stronger, sometimes it's a little weaker, and someday it won't be. And that's true for each one of you. Someday it won't be. But I'm not worried about this outward, but I'm worried about the inward, that inner person, that I'll go and be with God, that we are wasting away, yet inwardly I'm being renewed day after day after day, so that I can persevere. See, God enables me to do that. Folks, Christianity needs people to persevere. It doesn't need people that are going to put their hand to the plow and then look back. It doesn't need people who are going to be here and then be gone. It needs people who are saying, no, I'm focused and I'm getting there. I'm going. I'm not going to quit. And, if I haven't made you mad yet, I will. Just stick around. So don't base it on the preacher. There's only about 5 people here I haven't made mad, and I'm 4 of them. Okay? So it just happens. Don't base it on the preacher. Base it on the fact that I have to have this relationship with Jesus. And I'm going to the Lord. And I'm going to see it to the end. If we quit, this has become so urgent for me. So urgent for me. You got to hear me. Every time we lose people, we lose ground. I'm concerned with the church attendance of Latonia, not ours, all of Latonia. We're seeing it decline every month, every week. Put your hand to the plow and look to the end of the field and persevere. You can't get halfway through the field and turn around and look, because you're going to go the wrong direction. See it through. I don't care if you're 15 or 150, see it through. God's got things for us to do. There's work to be done. There's victories to be had. But it's not for those who quit. Renew yourself daily. Walk with Him. And if you've not made your commitment, do so. Each and every day when you get up, recommit yourself to God. God, I want to see this through to the end. Persevere. He enables you. He doesn't make you. He enables you. He doesn't make you. He's not going to make you do it. He's not going to make you be saved. He's not going to make you go to heaven. But He's going to give you the power to persevere to get there. Will you please stand as we have our invitation?